technology. Yeah,
and FaceTime, this thing is designed for people to just like socially integrate.
I guess so. Yeah. What do you wish it was?
I don't think.
We're filming, by the way.
Oh, hello. I don't like the fact that you can only hear one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Because the camera and the audio goes maybe to the loudest place.
Yeah.
And no one's in any control of that. So like, for example, at the end of dance class, he'll like unmute all the microphones and then try to say something to us, but there's no universe in which anyone can hear him because he's just unmuted the microphones. So people are like, thank you.
Yeah.
Making all various sounds.
Yeah.
And so it selects away. I don't like the algorithms that it selects away based on. Like, I would rather hear multiple people talking at the same time than it select one.
Then how does it? So it just shouldn't select at all?
I think it shouldn't select at all. I don't mind it being a setting, but why do they have to select for audio?
I guess it's like who has the, I'm trying to think, Zoom, are you thinking of it in terms of like little windows? Or do you set it on multiple windows at once?
I've tried all different things.
Because I'm trying to think like without that, would everyone's head just be really tiny and you couldn't really look at the person who's talking?
I'm not really talking about what you see.
Okay,
I'm talking about the way they handle the audio.
Okay.
And then what you see is like an outcome of the audio a lot of times, which is that you will then actually see the person that they've decided is talking.
Yeah.
But that is changeable. Like that you can be in a different view, like the gallery view, or you can pin one video and you'll only be on that video.
Yeah.
So I feel like that problem is like secondary. To me, the audio thing is like how do you even fix it? You know?
I don't know.
But I don't think audio on FaceTime selects like that. But it might just be because it's not as many people at the same time.
Well, like on the FaceTime, you become very aware of like who speaks the most because they get the most camera time.
Yeah,
basically. And then I kept vanishing, and they would be like, "Nessa, where'd you go?" And I was like, "No, I'm still here, guys. I'm just being quiet. I'm just listening."
Literally disappear?
I forget what it was. Like whether it just like went dark or blank. I don't know. It was weird.
You know what it probably is? It's just going from person talking. So you might not have come up.
I think it was like that. It kind of went dead in some way.
Oh, that's
it might also. It obviously also really depends on the connection.
Okay.
I don't know how that works.
That's so confusing to me that they call you Nessa.
Yeah.
Very. It can't. It can't lodge in my head.
Going back and forth. Sometimes I feel much more like a Nessa.
What's that like?
What's that like, being a Nessa? It's like more friendly and cozy.
Oh.
You know? I always thought Janessa had like a kind of formality to it. Yeah.
Are you chewing gum as a workout?
Yeah. Gonna get that jaw.
Cool.
How's my jaw look after?
Different.
At least I didn't get the jazzercise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Imagine if I was just like sucking on a chew toy all day. That's essentially what it was. You know what did it for me? That I was like, no, I'm not gonna get this. Is I watched a video of, because it's like this thing that you just put in the front of your mouth. and then you go, ah, 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 ah. So you're mostly just exercising these muscles.
No. Moving your jaw requires.
I thought you were going to, you're not like, I need to do that. This is such a stupid conversation. Anyway, and then I watched this guy melt, because whatever, I'm giving you a description of this product now. Jazzercise. So they give you like teeth molds that attach to the thing. So you like put your teeth in and then you chew from there. And the guy got him and he's like, oh, this isn't really like exercising the places in my face that I want to. So he actually like melted down the molds to have it fit more and then like tried to fit it back there. And I was like, this is silly. Like if we're just talking about having something to chew on, anything will do.
Yeah. That's bizarre, man. I guess the point of it is that it won't hurt your teeth. That's like maybe the only
Won't
point
break
of
your
that.
teeth. Yeah.
Of it being that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I'm chewing gum. I'm probably gonna get rid of it before we start reading.
Okay. It's also going to be murder for our future audio interests. Our future audio concerns.
I wonder if chewing. No, I obviously know what chewing sounds like. Chewing sounds so much more different for the chewer than the chewy. The
Chewy?
No, the like.
I'm not getting
Chew.
chew.
the chew observer.
Yeah. But there's people who like chew loudly and chew softly as well.
Elizabeth Moss chews gum on set.
Uh-huh.
I remember being like, what is happening? I don't know if I told you this before.
Yeah.
She would be chewing gum. And then they'd be like, okay, let's get a take. Wouldn't do anything with her gum. Do the take. Minutes are over. She's back to it. How does she just like keep the gum in her mouth during the take and not be bothered by it at all? No. Just in there.
No, she like puts it somewhere.
Oh yeah. But like
somebody who I worked with wore glasses, and he would wear glasses all the time because he couldn't see without them. And then when it was time to do the scene, he would take them off. And I'd be like, so you can't see any of your scene partners? Right. You don't care about that? And then I was like, maybe it's better if you don't see.
Maybe
I went on a
actually.
whole like thing, and then I was like, do I have the audacity to? I mean, not the audacity. Do I have the guts to like go to an audition and just be like blind and be like, hey guys?
I don't know if you do.
I don't
I
know.
can see a kind of acapella recurrence.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I'd be like, what are they? I wonder what their faces are doing. I need to see. And
Maybe
I'd get
that's
really close.
genius. Because if they're judging you, you don't see it. And
Depends on how furtive
if they're
your
impressed
fertile
by
your
you,
imagination.
you don't see it. So you're like literally just there to do your job.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on with you guys anyway, so let me just do this thing. As long as I don't walk into any doors.
It depends on whether your imagination is.
Yeah, whether you
Fertile.
can fill it in. But especially for an audition, you know what I'm saying? Because like sometimes the reader doesn't give you anything,
Yes.
and you have to add it yourself anyway.
Yes.
On set is a bit of a different thing.
Yeah.
Is it David Boreanaz? Imagine he was like secretly.
It would be him, wouldn't it?
It would be.
It's not, but
Ugh.
I feel like it easily could be. He's got methods. He's got methods I don't entirely understand. It's working.
Obviously.
So that'll be the end of that conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
At the beginning of
that's how we ended last night.
Yeah, it is.
Great.
That's all folks music.
Yeah. I'm getting rid of my gut.
Oh, thank God.
So you went to a birthday party.
I went to a birthday party today. I also lost. It's okay. I'll say that, but I also lost the document I have been working on this entire time. It vanished into thin air. I really, truly don't know what happened to it. Wait, what? I lost the document.
No,
But
you didn't.
yes, I did. But thankfully, the reason it's okay is because I have been compulsively emailing where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I like drew it all together
Just in email attachments.
from emails. But yeah, I don't know where the document is.
God.
I did drop my laptop yesterday. But it would be really weird if one document just fell out of it and otherwise it's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it seems like. I don't know.
It's probably there. Because it would be in your trash. If you would
The
delete
trash was
it.
empty.
Exactly. Like, I don't think you could have deleted it and emptied your trash in one fell swoop.
Yeah, that seems very unlikely, but it's also disappeared, so I don't really know what. I can't think of any likely explanation, frankly.
There's so many things on my computer that I don't know where things are.
Yeah.
I don't understand the sorting system of my computer at all.
Yeah. What don't you understand?
I don't. It's like a dresser, and I don't know the drawers. There's secret compartments and drawers that I'm not aware of, and sometimes things get saved to there, but I don't know that those drawers exist, so I don't know where to look.
Yeah. No.
Which is why most of the time I'm just save it to the desktop. Just put it there. That's what my desktop is.
I do save stuff to desktops, but then I deliberately put it somewhere else later.
Yeah.
But again, it's for that, so it doesn't get saved to someone who even knows where. For downloads is where everything goes. Yeah. Everything that you are getting from the outside, not stuff that you are working on.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit like this as well. I don't know the difference between my computer's hard drive and isn't everything on the hard drive?
Yeah, but sometimes I search for things and I'm like, where is it? I don't even know how to search for something on my computer. This is making me feel really stupid because I also use a Mac and it's hello.
The Finder.
I know, but I can't even use Finder correctly.
I have used it correctly successfully many a time, but the last day, today when I was looking for it, nothing was coming up.
Yeah.
In fact, it was doing this really Ouija board kind of bullshit thing that I was like, looking for names that contain, I was plugging in clues. What word do I say?
Cues, I think.
Yeah. For it to search words that might only be in that document or are only in a finite number of documents or what I might have named it. And it just kept pulling up conversations that I've had with exes. I'm serious.
No.
Yes.
That's too much.
3. Not numerous. 3.
Okay. What are you typing in?
3 is nothing to do with any of them as far as I'm concerned.
How?
I was like, this isn't even nonsense. This is a coherent other thing that I am not searching for. Called messages I'd rather forget.
But don't you mean this?
Exactly.
But don't you really want to see this?
Exactly. I was like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Stupid laptop. Well, I dropped it on its head, so maybe it's gone a little off. And it's like, you mean this one? And I'm like, no, it's not what I said. And they're like, oh, I got it. This one. Oh, God. That was very, very, very stressful.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe suddenly.
Yeah.
Especially because I just looked at it earlier today or yesterday and been like, I wonder how long this is. And it's like 15 pages, single
Single-lined,
spaced. Yeah,
single-spaced. Yeah.
I was gonna vomit everywhere.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, thank God for email, actually.
How did
I've managed
anyone-
to save a lot of things.
How did anyone know anything about their lives before Gmail?
Hotmail.
How do people know anything? Like literally the only reason I can locate myself in the time and the space and time continuum is Gmail. That's how I do my taxes.
Right.
That's how I literally everything. We're so vulnerable.
But at the same time, isn't it? Don't you just want to? Do you save your emails? I have
What do you
way
mean?
too many saved, and I'm like, why am I keeping this call sheet from 2016?
Oh, I don't
But I
delete
can-
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that not
But
normal?
does it not like feel like a dirty desk?
Yes, it does. Look how many emails I have. It's almost as high as the level I'm at on Toon Blast. And that is a shameful, shameful number, and as is this.
I mean, yeah. But at this point, it's like that would take a long time to clean up.
That was one of my like projects that I would like to do
Yeah.
in coronavirus. It's not happened.
I did that. At first, I just let everything pile up. I was like, fuck it. Normally, I kind of try to delete every day.
You delete? See, I don't delete. I file.
But most of it's junk. It's not like junk, but most of it is like things that I've subscribed to for products. You know,
Is that really most of it?
it'll be like Soko Glam or something. It'll be like, there's a lot of that. I get a lot of that.
Maybe I need to look closer.
Maybe you're getting very important emails. Most of my emails are not very important, I'm sad to say. I'm waiting for that time in my life when it's all very important.
It's not that. It's the time thing. That's the only reason I know when anything happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I can figure out when stuff happened by searching it for certain things, right? That's the reason. So it doesn't have to be important in itself. Now, Soko Glam is a good example of shit that you definitely don't need.
Yeah.
But who knows? It might be connected with something in my head.
Oh, yeah?
It might be. Like if I was like, when did I start doing skin stuff?
Oh, and you want that marker. Huh.
That's just a lame, very low stakes example, but one never knows.
That's interesting.
I think deleting is best.
Well, anyway, so there was one day when I was procrastinating something and I just decided to unsubscribe from everything.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all my emails. But I saved all the quote unquote important things, even though it's ancient at this point. I don't know whether I should get rid of that.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's better to have it.
If it's like archived properly.
I mean, it's not bad to have these people's emails even, just for that purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering it takes up no like actual space.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would err on the side of saving. You never know.
This is also making me think though that I should Marie Kondo my computer.
Oh, definitely.
I wonder if it would feel good. It'd be like a whole new computer.
It's so less tangible. It's less tangible though, but probably would
But
be
the amount of time I spend in there, and it is in there, it's like, yeah, you want it to be a nice, clean environment. An email, okay, that's like a website. I could save it, but if I knew where everything was and it was all organized, even just that, like deleting that thing and just organizing it and having it be that if I needed something, I knew where to locate it. I think that would give me.
Wait, you got no system?
System?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so obviously I have a tab problem.
This looks more normal than it usually is.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I have 3 windows open.
Jesus.
Not to mention I might also have Safari open. So I have like Chrome and Safari going at the same time.
Well, how would that even... Why would that
The
happen?
reason for that is because Safari knows some passwords that Chrome does not. So sometimes I have to go on Safari for things.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know?
This is why
Yeah.
you don't want to delete Safari.
Yeah, it's a system
Mm-hmm.
of a kind.
Mhm.
But even tabs, I think I should start like bookmarking things more.
I mean, that then they'll end up accumulating there, but
But at least then it's organized,
Yes.
and I don't need to keep everything open all
Yeah.
the time. And I just know that when I want to find something, I can go straight to it.
but literally documents and stuff, not tabs.
Yeah.
Do you have any system?
I've tried to implement systems, but it gets ignored. So like I have folders on there that are like pictures, videos, auditions, whatever it is. But oftentimes I just forget, and then it gets cluttered, and then every once in a while I'll like try to clean it up.
I never know whether to keep scripts.
Yeah, that's another one. I'm like, oh, but this could be useful at some point, even if it's just like for shits and giggles to like pull up a script and work on it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I'm always like, what do I do with all these pilots?
Like if you open an acting studio, I guess it would be great to have.
I guess.
Other than that, I don't know what you'd be doing with it.
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting to like meet somebody who's like, oh, my favorite. Like, I would give one leg to like just a desperate fan of some show. And I could be like, here's one of the early drafts of it.
Oh.
I'm more waiting for that kind of moment, I just realized, than opening an acting studio. I'm like, this might be valuable to somebody. That's my other attitude. Stupid.
That one day someone's gonna want to read that.
Like
You're
somebody
gonna be the
might care
one to
about it.
deliver.
And I'll be like, oh, I actually have it.
My only argument for that, against that,
Is that it's stupid?
no, it's that typically shows that are successful, that actually air,
I don't know.
you can find the script for the pilot online.
I don't know.
If it was like another episode, that's harder to find.
I know. It's really stupid. This is the most niche conversation. Desktops of actors.
Desktops of actors. At one point, I actually made an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, I forgot about that.
Me too.
Yeah, did I tell you about this?
No.
For casting directors?
No.
And actually, it was useful for that because I went through all my emails of every audition I'd ever had. Maybe not ever, but like in the past 2-3 years, I want to say. And I put down like every casting director I had been in front of. For
Holy
what project,
shit!
or like if there were any notes to add to it.
That's above and beyond. Because mine was like when I got back from the audition, I would enter it.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never like been through old written things to construct the new written thing. You know?
Like you've never gone back and
Never.
it was only kind of like a journal entry, like did this.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the email's
ideally
like
I
right
should have
there.
done that. Yeah.
So I'm doing the same thing as you were doing, which is getting the information off of the
Yeah,
email.
yeah.
And putting it in this thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like thinking about doing that for an audition that didn't just happen, so seems like the most intimidating possible idea. That's commitment.
It was interesting. Like it was interesting to go back and be like, wait, what? Like what? Oh yeah, that audition. Like it gave me more faith that I am able to let things go. Because there were so many things I didn't remember.
Totally. You can do that in June.
Should keep up with that list.
Now is a great time for that. I wish I could be one of those like academic actors
Okay.
who like knows things.
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah, you know, the ones that are like, I can't even come up with something.
What do they know? Like what?
They know every casting director. They know
Oh.
every show. They know like producers. They know all this fucking stuff.
Do you think that's necessary? I mean, obviously, I take the tactic of like just being oblivious to it. Don't know if it helps me. And then you have the opposite, which is what you're describing. At that point, I'm like, you're more of like an agent, that you know everything that's going on. But maybe that's a really great place to be because you feel more in control of it. Like you have a greater handle on what the water's like.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do wish I wasn't such a dumbass when it comes to some things. I can't believe I just said I do wish I wasn't such a dumbass.
So I think you know more actors than I do.
Where are you getting that?
100%.
100. I would not agree. I don't know where you're getting that.
You mention people to me all the time, and I'm like, who's that? I don't know.
No, I don't.
Why do I think this? First of all, like even when we were talking about like Numi Rapace. Let's see, that's how you say her name.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah. And all I could think of was a girl who kicked the hornet's nest.
Me too.
But you knew all these other things that she'd been in it.
Because
And I was
looked on IMDb.
Oh, I thought you were just like riffing off the top of your head.
No. Because I looked on the internet. This clearly wasn't a face-to-face conversation. Because you would have noticed.
Yeah.
That I had a tab.
That's funny because I do that too, but then I'm like covering my tracks. I'm like, quickly, who's Numi? And then I don't recognize any of them. So at least I'm honest about it, but then I have to like put it in front of me.
That's funny. I don't think I was pretending that I knew any of those.
You were watching Jack, right?
Yes.
That's why she came up? Yeah.
Yes.
But so like you watch much more television than I do.
Yeah, but what do I watch?
But that at least makes me think that you're watching much more current things than I am.
Like if I watched the 27 seasons of The Bachelor, would you be like, Nithya knows more than me?
She definitely knows more about that realm that I am quite contentedly
but
not in. No, but you watch like When They See Us, right?
I started it.
You started it? Okay.
And then I was like, I can't emotionally handle this.
I didn't imagine. I was gonna be like, so you're watching more current shows, you know what's what.
No. I mean, I personally do not feel like I know what is what at all. In fact, the more people talk about something, the less I want to see it.
Yeah.
So,
my friend was trying to talk to me again about watching Ozark, and I'm like, yeah.
No one's tried to make me watch that.
Really?
And I don't know why I don't want to watch it, because I frankly have all the time in the world for Jason Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love him.
Aww.
And for some reason, and Laura Linney.
Really?
Yeah, I love her.
I like her.
I like them. I love them both, but for whatever reason, I do not want to watch Ozark.
Huh.
I think sometimes that these choices are based on absolutely nothing tangible.
I think that's true.
It might be because I expect it to be emotionally demanding.
Yeah, I think it's
Because
more
Laura
than just a
Linney is
murder.
Oh,
Probably, actually. That's a pretty good indicator that
You
it's
know-
going to be kind of,
You
that
know-
it's going to be something.
I think that's
Because
what
she
I'm
wouldn't
scared
do
of.
it if it was otherwise.
I don't think she would.
Mhm.
That is a good indicator. I do watch more British stuff.
Yeah.
That's because they're really into murders.
They are.
They're very into it.
That's
Also, I grew up with like
murder in a
aunts.
tiny town.
Yeah, at the vicarage.
The vicarage.
Yeah, murder at the vicarage.
You grew up with aunts?
I grew up with at least one aunt who was like fanatically obsessed with reading Agatha Christie's.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, it was very like, I guess my dad had read some of it. They would just like, my dad is a big Poirot person, as am I. So that made an impression.
Yeah.
So for me, that is like one of my comfort foods.
Huh. Yeah.
And the British do a lot of those types of things. That's literally what I'm watching right now.
That makes sense. That you gravitate. You gravitate.
Gravitate.
This was when you were a kid that this was kind of
Agatha Christie's? Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I feel like that set a template for an ongoing. I find it comforting.
Yeah. And I was watching a lot of comedies growing up.
Interesting.
That's all there is to it.
My friend told me that Pride and Prejudice is now on Amazon Prime.
Ugh.
So that's gonna happen.
Go. Shut this off. Go.
Right?
Be there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should rewatch that.
I've watched it enough times that I've like noticed really funny shit happening in the background and stuff.
Yeah?
I'm a fun person to watch Pride and Prejudice. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell that right now to you. I'll tell you right to your face. Yeah. There's this one really good one where someone like comes to deliver a cable in the middle of the night on horseback, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're like inside the house, and the guy runs back to his horse and like really hurriedly tries to get on it, but he doesn't get his leg around.
No.
Yes. So he goes like and just goes like bolting up over the horse, and both of his legs fly up. I can't believe they took that take. Like no one was looking at him. It's so funny. And it's a really serious moment too.
Yeah.
It's one of those like cables that they're
when
really waiting
Lydia
for. Maybe
left in the night.
it's like one of those moments, and
Oh
you're
my
like,
God.
the cable.
Oh, I just ruined it for everyone.
Spoiler.
I don't think anyone heard me because my mouth was there.
That's
I'm
also
like
true.
the worst person for audio in the world. Anyway,
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. I need elocution lessons.
Yes. Okay, but what were you saying though?
What was I saying? What was
Were
that?
you saying something?
No.
I feel
I
like
was saying was that when Lydia left in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I think it might have been.
That's all I said.
It had to have been daytime. It was definitely urgent. It had to have been because he was running. It had to have been daytime, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see him get on the horse. See, that's the kind of deduction that you can only learn. Yeah, there are. Telegram, that's the word. I was like, why am I using the word?
But it's not a telegram, is it? Because it's just a letter.
Yeah, okay, so telegram's not the word.
That hasn't been invented yet.
That also like a cable. What the shit are they? It's like a.
Their hair is so stupid in that though.
Whose hair?
Don't you hate it? The little curls.
Oh,
Everyone's
really stupid.
So ugly.
Their whole like hair. Yes, you're so right. Their whole hair thing was just like not helping anybody.
Yeah. And then they've got like this long, beautiful hair. I don't know if it was real or not. There's like all these scenes of them at night talking amongst each, and they let down their
What's her
hair.
name has like fantastic hair.
Yeah, everyone they let it down. And it's gorgeous, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you wrapping it up and then making it? I don't know.
I'm gonna start doing that.
The little tiny girl.
What's the freaking point of that?
I don't know.
It's so perverse.
Kind of, right?
Yeah, like how random and contrarian. It's like, no, this. Like weird
Who
ass
decided
thing.
that? Yeah.
Smash the patriarchy is what I think. Claire has a shirt that says, on Wednesday we smash the patriarchy. I love it on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, right. As opposed to pink. Get it?
Mhm.
As opposed to on Wednesdays we wear pink.
Yeah, that. What she said. That's what our choice was.
You know, I always forget that Lizzie Kaplan was in Mean Girls.
Oh, who's that actor that I don't know?
You do know that.
No, I don't.
Masters of Sex.
Never saw it.
Okay, fine. But
Look
that's
at this, what's playing out. It is literally the opposite of what you said. Literally the opposite.
but that's really old at this point.
Okay.
Great.
You've seen Mad Men.
Yeah, that's true.
I know some Mad Men. You've seen Breaking Bad.
I tried.
I tried also.
You've seen The Wire.
Yes.
And The Godfather.
Godfather's not a TV
No,
show.
not The Godfather. You know, the same thing, but TV version.
The Sopranos.
There we
That's
go.
an excellent show.
Yeah.
It's really worth watching.
Sure it is. Yeah.
They're both excellent shows. But The Wire is emotionally costly.
I don't feel like you can play your little stupid phone
Nope.
game while watching The Wire.
But it's like maybe the best thing ever made. What are we trying to come up with?
Game of Thrones.
Things that the other person has seen that you haven't?
Yeah. Who's
Well,
This
you've
is like-
seen.
this is like such a weird face off.
It's
Like
the opposite.
who's the least television literate?
I didn't see the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
That's true. You beat me there. Because I've only not seen the last season.
We both not seen. That's like pretty impressive. I bet you there's not that many people in the world
Yeah.
who have seen like a lot of it, but not all of
It's the only reason why this works.
it. Yeah.
Why this living situation works.
Yeah.
Because if one of us had seen it, it would have been ruined.
Right now. Yeah. When I told Aaron recently that I never watched the final episodes, I told you this, right? That I was so depressed about the Sopranos ending.
Oh yeah, that you never watched the
Yeah,
final.
even though
Yeah.
this was like easily 15 years later.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't currently ending. Like,
Yeah,
this
it
all
still
happened.
exists. It's Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
You know what that? I feel like we made that analogy. Like
I know what the cat is.
yeah. But like, so it's both dead and alive for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that's what I don't get. I
Anyway.
was saying I don't get the fact that I didn't watch the last episode.
Yeah.
I never did. And I told Aaron, he was like, whatever, the last episode sucked anyway. And I was like, oh, cool.
You're like, I made the right choice.
Yeah, I never thought that I had made that choice, right?
You know, I kind of felt about the last episode of Mad Men. And people really liked it, and I thought it was stupid.
Show I haven't seen.
It's too. He goes, I don't know.
There's too much drinking and
He goes
smoking.
back. He goes back to his. It's such a.
Don't spoil Mad Men.
Fine. But see, you know what? We're all supposed to feel really bad for Don because he grew up in a whorehouse.
And what?
And so what?
And what?
Yeah, could have been a nice whorehouse. Wait, that's like that. Pretty much it.
That's it.
I think so. I mean,
Why
that's
don't you
not the
grow
last.
up? Why don't you grow up?
But
John?
it's like, I'm sure
Johnny
there's lots
boy.
of people who grew up in whorehouses and they're fine. They're well-adjusted people.
Yes, I know for a fact they are.
You?
I actually do.
Okay.
Actually, that person's not that well adjusted. But it's in working order.
There you go.
It's functioning.
Is he like, she? Are they philandering and alcoholic? And
Nope.
Take responsibility, Don.
Take responsibility, Don. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Now I just want to talk about Mad Men.
It's too much drinking and smoking. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, it just makes me want to drink and smoke.
That's
So
why there's too much drinking and smoking.
Badly.
That's why I didn't watch
You
it.
can be watching Mad Men at 10 in the morning and you're like, I think it's time for a cocktail.
Yeah.
It's the only time I actually want to drink, when I see people on television drinking.
Really?
Yeah.
I am thankfully not that triggered seeing people on TV drink. I am quite triggered seeing people smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That one, like,
So
I
basically,
should-
you can't
I need
watch
to-
any movie before 19.
I need to not sleep on that. Because I find myself legitimately being like, I think I should take up smoking again. Like, I genuinely think this is a good idea. Which I need to not do.
Yes, you do.
Please help me.
I can actually see that being a problem in quarantine. Because
Yeah.
nowadays, especially in Los Angeles, you're out and about and enough people are shaming you that you don't take up smoking again. But at home, who's there to say anything?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, this is normal now.
No. I can't quit again. That's the thing. It's that if I start smoking in some, like, if my parents are watching this, they're going to freak out. If I were to ever start smoking again, it would have to be for life.
Because you can't go through quitting again.
Yes, that is truly the worst problem. And I did it 3 times.
Ugh.
And the last time I literally was like, no. I need to, like, remember in my bones that this is not, cannot be back here.
Yeah. What was it like?
It was wonderful. No, I quit smoking using this, like, brainwashing book.
No way.
It's the
Okay.
same. How do you not know this? Because this is
I
how
know
I
this.
really.
I think we talked a little bit. Did we talk a bit about hypnosis? And maybe you mentioned this.
The only time I ever went to hypnosis was for smoking.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know if we ever talked about that.
No.
Because I think it only came up the other day here.
Yeah.
I quit smoking by reading a book called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr, this dead British guy.
Mhm.
And basically it's a brainwash. And it's very effective. And I read it every time I quit smoking. And you, like, lead up to it. And then when I had to quit drinking, I was like, oh, if only Alan Carr wrote a book for drinking. And I looked it up, and he had. And that is how I quit drinking. So I owe, like, a lot to Alan Carr.
How does it work? It's a book? Like, that's a surprising thing for me. It's a book. It's not like an audio tape that you listen to.
Well, you can get it on Audible, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you need to listen to every day or anything.
Yeah.
It's like hardwiring. It's like attacking the basic hardwiring of what makes it appealing. So, and it's just like, it's very repetitive. So there's definitely a part of it that's like, because I guess, it's trying to surmount, like, years of thinking of things a certain way. So I kind of get it. And that's the kind of brainwashing I, like, fully signed up for, obviously.
Yeah.
So this is the reason I'm not in love with 12-step, because his is the complete opposite tactic, which is to basically say, we're not moping, we're not crying. This is the greatest thing that has ever happened to you. And at the end of this, you're going to like bust through the chains of this horrendous thing that controls you and like live your life as like an emancipated creature. And that is, I find, very powerful.
Yeah.
And that's the way for me that I am able to motivate, because, and that to me is like kind of the inverse of the 12-step methodology, which is like, don't ever forget that
you're forever identified as this thing, and don't ever forget like how bad it was.
Yeah.
Seems
And
like
this
that's
it's like you can celebrate starting day one.
Wow.
Because you have just freed yourself.
Interesting. I've heard that the best, does he do this too? I've heard like that to change a habit, you have to change your identity. And that's been the confusing thing to me about 12-step, is it's almost like they take the opposite stance. They're like, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. But then I've also heard that to stop smoking, I don't know why, but this sticks out of my brain, that instead of saying things like, no, I'm quitting, you should say things like, no, I don't smoke.
Yeah. That probably is out of his book.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are two different things, right? So the identity thing, I think in 12-step, I believe they are creating a new identity, which is like you as a sober person.
Right.
Like, I think that's the new identity.
Okay.
In recovery is the identity.
That's weird. Why does he have one specifically for women?
No idea. It's an old ass book.
Easy way to lose weight. Can there be like an easy way to stop sabotaging yourself? Can it just be more general?
I wish that were the case.
Right. Can I just like get the book and cross out smoking and put in my own brand of?
No, because like it's specific.
It's specific to what smoking actually is. Yeah.
And with the drinking one also, he does this with smoking, but he draws your attention to the fact that it is literally a poison. And that the only reason you think it's wonderful and cool is because you bought into something. So you need to unbuy into that.
Right.
And basically he says like the addiction to cigarettes, it is a chemical. I don't know, like I don't think he was a teetotaler, but he basically doesn't buy into the fact that there are like alcoholics, that there are problem drinkers, and that there are people who drink normally. Because he basically is like putting poison into your body is not normal. And it's literally poison.
So he doesn't buy into like that that people are trying to fill a hole or something with alcohol. It's more just they've bought into an idea of drinking.
The attack is not to focus on what you're trying to cover up.
Yeah.
That's not so it's not that he doesn't think that.
Yeah.
It's that that's not part of the methodology.
Okay.
So you're not like, I should quit, or like the reason I drink is because of my, my dad beat me type thing, whatever. Some really like intense traumatic event. I think the idea is that doesn't actually help.
Right. So
it doesn't get you from A to B.
I kind of believe in that actually. Like people cycle through like, why do I do it? Like they want to get to like the bottom and like why.
And a lot of times that perpetuates
totally
itself.
Then you keep peeling back layers of the onion and you're still drinking or still miserable or still whatever.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because unless you actually like change your actions, you don't really change the problem.
Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't focus so much on that. It's more like, you think this is helping you, it's not. You think you need this, you don't. So it is nothing. He makes it nothing into the nothing, and he builds like you up. So you literally are like, here I am, and I'm not gonna have a drink. Like it's, and it just, that for me just works so much better. And he's like, go live your life, go enjoy your life, don't like stay away from bars, don't because then you will be losing something, you'll be losing your friends, you'll be losing like actual fun.
Yeah, and then it's
And then you are giving something up.
right. It's a deprivation as
Yes.
opposed to like something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got really excited about my future self. That's what it kind of is.
Yeah.
And you're like, what a badass I already am. And then that's the energy that you like ride through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea is that like you don't actually, that the addiction is like an illusion. Like you think you need it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like literally taking, it's like two sides of the same coin. Because I guess if you're an alcoholic or whatever, there's this feeling that like I can't do anything without drinking. I can't do anything without this thing. I can't function. And that's the core belief that he is like trying to undo.
Right. So it's not like you have to undo the like self that can't do anything without that. It's like, no, that's just a belief that you have.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to work on anything beyond that.
Correct. And in terms of like changing, like it worked really well for me. And I didn't do it by avoiding the root causes of my substance abuse stuff.
Yeah.
But I personally feel like I have to be empowered. I have to feel good. So I knew I never wanted to be the kind of non-drinker who would go for the I had the stage combat guy at Stella Adler. We'd be outside smoking, and he'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you guys doing?" We'd be like, "Oh, going to the bar." Obviously, what else were we ever doing? And he was like, "Have a Corona for me. Like it's been 40 years or something." And I remember being like, "I can't want a Corona for 40 years. That's not an acceptable future. I'd rather be a drunk than like be in a lifelong alligator wrestle with drinking." Now, some people would say that that makes me not an alcoholic, and I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, that almost sounds like there's like a string that is pulled taut that you always have to hold.
Yes. Forever.
Yeah, forever. And maybe like the reason you don't ever let go is because like after being pulled that taut, like it's gonna be fugly when you let go.
Yeah.
Whereas you instead
just like you walk away.
Yeah, you walked away and you went somewhere else. And it had the same effect, but you didn't bring the string with you.
Yeah. Addiction is a really confusing, complex, fascinating thing that I am pretty convinced we do not have figured out. Like, it just feels. When you hear people talk about addiction being a disease, like, I don't know. It sounds like Salem witch trial shit to me. I'm like, this doesn't sound right. Is this really is this really the science?
I think the disease thing helps people understand that people are helpless to it.
Sure.
I don't know if it's actually a disease or if it's just a metaphor that went crazy.
I think people actually think that it's a disease.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in actuality, it might not. I don't know. I don't know.
Nobody knows anything.
A disease makes me think that if you went into a person's system, you would find it.
Right.
I don't know if you would.
So it's extremely insidious to think of it as a disease because it's a disease that no one can diagnose. That's insane. No one can see, and you cannot cure. What the fuck kind of disease is that? That's like a crazy trap for life.
Yeah.
That to me, that sounds really, really, really stressful. And I think that people get really caught up in words and language and don't focus enough on like maybe that's not true, but I don't know if I identify as an alcoholic. I know that I'm basically the same as all those people who go to the meetings. I know that. But I don't feel super comfortable taking on everything that that word seems to mean. Because then that means I am now still the same thing. And I strongly believe that I'm not.
I mean, I've heard it be said that everyone would benefit from the 12-step program.
Yeah.
And that makes me think that
I'm amazed that
like-
you haven't gone yet. Just check that shit out.
read out out of Bible passages. I actually, because it's Corona, I was like, I don't even have to show my freaking face. I can just go. There's like any time of the day, there's a Zoom meeting. Okay. I think I did log on for like one randomly, and then they were reading something, and I was like, "This is boring."
So sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying
Oh, and I have been to an Al-Anon. One. Yeah. Which was helpful.
Al-Anon's quality stuff.
Yeah.
They've got good shit. They've got really good shit.
Can they update the pamphlets? That's all I'm gonna say. What did I want to say? Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think humans are all that different one from the next at like the base level. And so to that extent, I think a 12-step program helps most people. Because it's like dealing with like higher power. Most people can be helped out by that. So like surrender, I think most people tend to live better lives when they're not like clutching so much. And then also taking responsibility seems to me to be like a major tenet. Like making amends and taking responsibility for one's own actions and one's own life. I think that will do so much for a human being.
Totally.
Just forgiveness, of like other people and of yourself. And from that place, like really moving on. I think everyone could benefit from that.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if that is a cure for alcoholism. Rather, whether it's just a way to be a happier human being. And from that place, a lot of people have more reason to stay away from alcohol. And like don't depend on it as much because they feel more intact. So I don't know why I said that. It felt like it was in line with what you were saying about you're like, I'm no different than those people, but like for whatever reason, this is what I did. And I don't think I need to go through the 12 steps.
It's not that I don't think I need to. I also know that I'm confident that any human being would benefit greatly from them. So that's actually not it at all. it's everything that comes along with it. And I would love to have the camaraderie
Yeah.
dimension.
Yeah, that's really good.
That would be so nice. And like Steph used to always be like, you don't have to do this alone. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing anything alone. I'm done. It's impossible. He was like worried that I would relapse based on the fact that I didn't go to AA. Yeah, I wish I could be into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not the steps that I'm not into. The steps are great. There's something so terminal about it. And that's kind of what I mean. Like, I don't want to spend half my life in AA meetings. Stefan was like a diabetic, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not good to talk.
Yeah. I know what you mean about the terminal. So
It's a very like you have to commit so intensely.
you have to commit, and I feel like once you're an alcoholic and once you're in AA, if ever you deviate and you go away, that's seen as a problem.
Because I think it often is a problem, yeah.
And like even if you know you're okay, I or it's not like just other people's opinion, like that thought gets inside you as well, and you're like, am I just doing this?
That's the reason I don't go, because like
Yeah.
I'm scared of what they think of what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And because I feel comfortable with what's going on with me,
Right.
doesn't feel like there's a great reason to rock the boat just to like make friends who know how I feel.
Right.
I'm not willing to trade the one thing for the other. Because I cannot. I like make this joke all the time, but it's also not a joke. The only thing that I feel like would definitely drive me to drink is having to go to AA. Because they also just go on about it. Like you spend so much time, like people who have not drunk in so long spend so much time thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I would rather just like move on with your life.
Right.
If that is possible. And it makes it seem like it's not possible, that you have to do it kind of like this way. And yes, I know they don't actually say that. They're big on whatever works, but that doesn't feel like what is practiced very often.
I mean, it's an interesting theory that like you could take all the things that AA does, and if they just were to talk about anything else, like even like I think of the sponsorship thing. I think having like a close relationship and like someone you can turn to, and also like being recovered, having someone to help.
Yep.
Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
To me. But I almost wonder if you could have that all of those things, but around like real estate, whether it would be just as effective and useful.
I think it would be.
Yeah.
I don't know about real estate.
I don't know, but like something that like wasn't constantly talking and fixating on alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt to me like there's an element of addiction that is like what's really happening, and then there's the stuff that we just don't understand and that everybody speculates over.
Mm-hmm.
And people take a different view as to how big that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of the 12-step situations make it a really big thing. And that, I guess, is what helps some people face it.
Yeah.
For me, it has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Of like feeling I'll never beat it.
Right.
And we just like start smoking and stop smoking at will. understand what's happening there. You're good with like deprivation.
Yeah.
You're good with like not touching, not
touching them. Yeah.
Not touching stuff. The packages, the
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not that good at it.
Yeah. I'm good at self-discipline.
That's one kind of discipline.
It's a kind. Yeah. I guess I just also I also think about like working out every day. No one's making me. I just do it. And granted, I don't work out as hard as other people, but I don't know. I guess a lot of people can't do that. They can't like find the motivation by themselves.
Maybe.
That's what it sounds like.
I think more people are able to work out than not open packages for days and days for no reason other than that.
Makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. I can't even get inside before I open it.
This actually makes so much sense to me to not open the package. I don't think it's a deprivation thing. It's actually because I want to hold on to the pleasure of it.
Of not having it?
Of having a package. Firstly, it's wonderful to get a package.
It happens all the time here. Almost every day.
Yeah, but it's fun. You get a little, ooh.
Yes, it is. It's great.
And the second you open it, it stops being a package and it just becomes one more thing you own.
But then, like, you shouldn't own it. Then you shouldn't have bought it, right?
But I find, like, getting is so much more satisfying than having. This is sad.
That's so much more form than content. Like, I got a thing from some store today that has shorts in it, and I immediately put shorts on them. Like, I ordered the shorts because I want I need the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I need the package.
Because you actually needed the shorts.
Yeah, so like I don't know if you. Yeah.
This is funny. There's like literally, this is really funny. There's literally a pair of shoes in there that I have not even looked at. Like I got it in the mail. It's sitting in its box. I haven't even opened it.
Yeah, I don't think that's normal.
Granted, it's quarantine, so like,
so
don't have very many places to go. Don't need shoes very often.
But it's not open.
It's like it's out of its. Did I get from Amazon? I think it did. It's out of its Amazon box.
Okay.
But I have not opened the shoe box. For all I know, it could be full of cockroaches.
That is insane. That is insane. To me, that means you actively enjoy not having. You actively enjoy deprivation.
I see it as like, no, I'm holding on to something else.
Yeah, we're holding on to the deprivation. The state of not having it.
No, I think it's more like to like, once I have it, it won't be special.
Right. Why is not having it special?
Well, they're perfect right now. They're all clean. They're white. They're like, it's waiting for me. This is like the dream is so much more satisfying than the reality. And
That's sad.
I have this relationship with food too.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
My Birkenstocks arrived and they're the wrong size.
No!
Can you believe it?
Your British shoes. It is because they're in British sizes and you didn't
know.
Weird. Are they too big or too small?
They're huge.
Can you return them?
I think so. And they seem like they're pretty decent with the Selfridges.
They arrived pretty quickly.
Yeah, they arrived in like 3 days.
That's crazy.
I know. And it was cheaper than getting it in the US. I don't understand. Anyway.
Aw, I saw the box and I was like, oh good, she got her breakage stuff.
No, I didn't. But like that, what if your shoes are the wrong size?
You're right.
You're not going to be able to return them because it's been a year since you ordered them.
The fact that I am inside and many times do not put on shoes, like many days, I did not put on shoes today. That makes a little bit of sense.
Yes, I certainly wear shoes less than I once did.
Yeah. I don't really have anywhere to go. I don't know.
Since later.
Like I don't want to waste my new shoes on a walk.
Yeah,
in
but
the neighborhood.
don't act like this is a new thing as of COVID because it's an ongoing thing and it's always been like this. Okay. I can't believe like this. I am the opposite of this. I cannot believe that you haven't looked. I couldn't contain. I can't contain myself.
I like to leave things in the bag. I did open
Everything
a package
gets
today.
opened immediately.
I did open a package pretty immediately today.
What was it? Something more?
Okay. No, it wasn't. It's face masks.
Oh,
Face Tory.
you
Face
needed some
Tory.
face masks.
Yo, okay. Whatever. I should work for everyone. Except for Jazzercise. Face Tory is a subscription service for face masks. And you get a little product in every, like a free little product in every package.
Can't get down with that.
I know. Because you're like, what kind of shit product are you sending me?
It's not just that. It's like somehow I actually perceive how that ends up being clever. Which is not a thing that I can, like, that's not a connection that I can always make.
I would think that too. But then, so they gave me this moisturizer.
You keep buying the full size?
No. You get like a full-size product.
Oh.
I got like a clay mask for this one. Anyway, like last one, I got this moisturizer that was like, I was like, okay, whatever, this looks cheap. I'm not going to use it. I like looked it up. And then because I was breaking out, even though you don't believe me, but I was breaking out, I started using it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
What is it?
It's called Tetra Cream. Tetra Cream. I don't know. It's amazing. Not expensive, right? Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Face Story. I feel like I should sign up.
Please. You can have some.
I was going to say
I'm
you're
kind
not
of
into clay
swimming
masks.
in masks right now, though.
You're not into clay masks.
Yeah, if you want this. I'm gonna try it.
Do you feel like, oh, I didn't get a good one this time?
Well, I don't know. Actually, I thought I didn't get a good one the other time.
Right. So it's almost like Face Story, this company, is introducing you to like the world for the first time. It's like, oh, I don't know shit about shit actually.
Yeah.
So maybe like all my frenemies are actually I don't know about this.
Actually, there's something to that. So you're just gonna keep cycling through the same products, but this place, you're like, I know you would never buy this for yourself.
But look, what are you paying for this?
So the first is only $9.99. $9.99. You get 8 masks, I believe,
What?
and a free product, full size.
And then?
And then it's $19.99, I'm pretty sure, or $18.99, something like that.
And they decide what the main product is,
They decide everything.
but then you get more masks.
Then you get 8 masks and a free full size product.
So, and how often is this?
I think once a month.
So you have to use 8 face masks a month?
Oh yeah, you better be you better be masking, or you give them to your friends.
We've got a lot of face masks.
I have a lot now. It's kind of overflowing.
I'm sure I can't. Yes. Why are we not doing a face mask break? I think I really like the Pierre essence. I think I already told you that.
Yeah.
I think I like it.
Okay.
Emily,
Oh my god, we've already been talking for an hour and 15.
this is what happens
Okay.
when no one's steering the ship.
So I eased up off the rudder, all right?
I know, clearly, because we've been sitting here talking about nonsense rascals for.
I really like this idea of taking Alan Carr's book and just crossing it out and being like,
It wouldn't work, though. It wouldn't work. There are certain things that are true just like
Being
of
like-
life.
you aren't. What would I want to change? So many things.
That's what I'm saying. You could really only leave the prepositions.
Okay. Easy way to stop. That's all I would have. Just stop.
Just stop. It's amazing. I think my sister actually does tell people that.
Yeah.
She definitely
Stop.
tells me. She's like, just stop.
That's not bad advice.
It's not bad advice.
Chances are what you're doing right now, no.
Just stop it.
No.
Just.
Oh.
It's solid advice.
Yeah, your sister needs her own TV show.
My sister badly needs a TV show. She's so like freeform.
What?
She's just like,
Oh, do you mean the channel?
no.
Oh, that's what I thought you meant. You said TV show.
Oh, how interesting. A channel that you know something about,
Only
or
because
at
I
least
go up for
thought
it.
of. And I just thought of it as a word.
Ah.
It's almost like you're more media educated than I am.
Well done, sir.
She's just like, she plays like sometimes just like fast and loose, and it's great. You know what it is? I remember that there's like something called flow when I see her. You know the concept of flow.
Yeah. You're reminded of Flo when you
I'm like,
see her.
yeah, that's like that either is or isn't flow.
That's a very nice compliment.
That's a pretty good compliment, isn't it?
Have you ever said that to her?
No, I just
would want
thought
to
it.
hear that.
I just
That
thought it.
I embody what flow is. That's a pretty good thing.
She's not always in flow,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like you can tell when she is.
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's more obvious. And I think that she, as a person, goes there more often, definitely, than I do.
Hmm.
I'm much more like premeditated, I think.
Hmm.
I can't just flow, you know? Where am I going to end up?
That's pretty great.
I wouldn't know.
I had flow today.
Nice.
It sounds so random. Like I was just brushing my teeth and I didn't think about it. I just brushed them. No,
Wow.
No, I had flow today because I had like a writing session, and beforehand I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be terrible. Oh, I don't want to do this."
And then you were like, but remember when I thought that about the moisturizer?
Remember when I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then no, and I got kind of grumpy because I'm not used to writing with someone else, and he was writing all kinds of things, and I was like, "I don't know what he's writing. He's writing some different project. I don't know how to work with him on this." Like, and fine, like just have your script then. I can't work with this. And then I don't know. And then I just like picked up the pieces that I understood. And yeah, I was like, oh, I already know how to do this. And we have different strengths. Whatever, it's fine. But I was like pleased with what I wrote. And I did not think about it beforehand. I can tell you that.
That is some flowy flow.
Mhm.
That's flow like
Like there were some ugly rocks in there, but we flowed. Flowed or flew?
flowed.
Flowed, definitely.
Definitely.
Why
There's
did
not
I
even a
think
question.
flew?
Why
Yeah.
are your eyebrows doing that? There's no question.
Ugh.
You thought flew? Not sure, but that makes it a whole different verb as a different action, and you need to just stop.
Okay.
Just stop.
What did we read yesterday, Nithya?
We read. Oh, bloody hell.
It's all right that this one doesn't come easily. I feel like I'm quizzing you. What did we read? Napoleon.
I was just going to say that, but that seems like
Is that true?
when
No.
in doubt, say Napoleon.
Count Rostopchin.
Rostopchin! Moscow! Beating!
Yeah.
Gang. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
They killed Vereshchagin and the tall lad.
They killed the tall guy?
The tall lad.
Really? I thought the tall
Yeah, he somehow got in the middle of it all, and they tore at him too. I don't know if he died.
He was the
But
most
he got
confusing.
mangled.
He's such a confusing person.
It's sort of. All I know is that he kept pulling his sleeves up and flourishing his arms, I think.
Well, he was like such a rabble rouser.
Yeah.
But then what?
But then, I mean, there was a lot of scurrying, but I think he somehow ended up in the center. Maybe because he was like rabble rousing, and then
He got roused himself.
yeah, and then they started tearing at him too. Maybe they thought he was Vereshchagin. Anyway,
Yeah, because the crowd is a know nothing.
that's just, unless you're a prince, you're drunk.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's happening in Russia.
Yeah.
Um,
They just like validate each other constantly.
what?
Like if you say what, I'm like, what?
What?
What? That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Stop it!
Do you not like that?
It
Makes you very what?
nervous. Stop.
I'm actually quite good at mirroring, but what I mean is that there's such a mob that it feels like they're just like, yeah, just to
Definitely.
whatever is being said.
And then when
That's what
they're
I
like, no, that was terrible. That was
Yeah,
terrible.
no,
They're like,
no,
yeah,
no,
it was terrible.
no. It's like they're doing a voiceover, like voiceover. What is it called? It's called like a walla or something. WALLAH.
Okay.
Am I making this up? Did I dream this? When people are just like, oh,
And they have to hire actors to come in to do
Yes.
it. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, so people are like, yeah. That's kind of like what all of peasant Russia seems like they're doing.
Pretty much.
It's just like taking the theme and just improvising slightly.
Although sometimes it's really random.
But it's always more than one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like then it's like one fish goes this way, the whole school goes this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, so there was definitely some sheep.
Sheep?
Yeah, like that sheep mentality.
Yeah. Way to introduce another animal metaphor like the next sentence after the previous animal metaphor.
Yeah, there you go. I just felt like
You did it. You did what the sudden turns. But then like now we're going this way.
I can't believe how long it takes you to eat this apple. It must be so warm by now.
It's not that warm.
I think that's kind of all that happened. Count Rostopchin was very upset.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? This isn't my fault. This isn't my fault that Moscow. What was his fault? I forget. He was supposed to have done something and he didn't do it. And then he's like, it's not my fault I didn't do it. He was supposed to empty the city or something. They thought.
Yeah, he basically was like wanting everybody to stay.
Yeah, and then he got a letter from Kutuzov and he's like, oh shit, I didn't do that. You know what? This is Vereshchagin's fault. He is to blame for
He just found some scapegoat, sold him down the river,
Moscow
and left. The
being
city.
overtaken. Yeah. And he also emptied out, so we emptied out like all the jail cells and the lunatic asylum. He's like, let everyone go free.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anymore.
So when he gets home, there's like a lunatic. Almost like a tumbleweed passing by.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he thought he was Jesus. And then he goes to see Kutuzov. And he's kind of shamed just by Kutuzov's look.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember
he
this.
You made the look though, it was very good. It's like Kutuzov just kind of looks at him like, what are
he looks at everyone like that. Like he's trying to figure out what their face is.
He's trying to study like what the hell is this apparition I'm seeing in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then reception goes home. Hi.
Who dat?
Allie.
Allie?
Is that her last name? Or is that a different one?
Oh, that's not. Oh.
Hi.
Hello. I don't remember this meeting with Kutuzov.
Okay.
But, like, I remember that exchange, but I don't remember what's the consequence of that interview?
Remember? And he was like, no, I shall not give up Moscow without a battle. Yeah, it was very short. But at the end of it,
oh, yeah.
Kutuzov is like, no, I shall not give up Moscow without a battle.
I'm not entirely clear where the army is vis-a-vis the city.
I'm assuming on the outskirts. You know, this seems like a thing where you're on the outskirts of it. I don't know why you're not in it.
They're guarding it? But then wouldn't that be obvious, and why is Rostopchin being like, you better guard the city? If that's obviously what they're doing there.
Maybe it's just to protect the civilians. Like, obviously they can't be there if the French are there. We can't have the battle inside of Moscow.
Correct.
Yeah.
That would just be
Why
crap.
did they have the battle before the French got to Moscow?
I think that we were retreating.
You suddenly understand warfare.
Yeah, because I use the word we.
But that makes me seem like that makes me seem like if you're just retreating and you're like, why are we gonna defend Moscow? Because we're retreating. They could have just as easily been like, hey, let's not retreat.
They couldn't.
No, they couldn't.
Because they lost half their army, remember?
So what? Don't they still have only half their army?
Yeah, but now they're in Moscow. They can't just be like, no, we didn't feel that good about it over there.
That's what it sounds like.
We don't understand warfare at all. I think that's quite clear. Like, this is like talking about people like aliens.
Maybe they had to regroup. I'll buy that.
For sure
they needed more time. I'll buy that.
And didn't we talk about what Napoleon was doing between Borodino and Moscow? I don't know. I think there was a jump there.
Yeah.
Like, I think we did actually do a startling jump. And they were suddenly in Moscow.
Yeah. So we had the battle, and then it was like, oh, Moscow's lost. And we didn't know what happened in between.
But to be fair, Kutuzov has been trying to figure out when he lost Moscow.
Exactly.
For a
We're
long
right
time.
there with you.
So
Everything
it
is
might
as
not be
it should
clear.
be.
Yeah.
Tolstoy has us in his hands. We are petty.
Yeah.
Don't it feel good?
We're on our way to being porcelain. We're gonna get vitrified as.
You really need to just slip vitrification into every conversation now.
Didn't I just?
It's like, bravo, keep it up.
Give it up. I can't believe that I dissed chemistry so hard. And then yesterday I was like, what is this magic? And it was all chemistry. Did you know there is a glass state in between liquid and solid?
No. What is this state called?
I just said glass state. I just said
Yeah, but what's it called? You do it.
vitrification.
Well,
That's how they make glass. And also cotton candy. Can you believe this? I can't I don't know what that says. I cannot freaking believe there's a
no.
state.
Yes.
Yes, there is a state in between liquid and solid that is the glass state, also known as the glass state. For anybody who wasn't understanding my accent.
I'm gonna come up with a skincare line. It's called vitrification. And only
and
really
then
smart people look at it.
only people with Wikipedia brains who are like,
Or that.
I need to know what this is. Well, no, they're intellectually curious.
Ah, right.
So only the people
It's
who
not
already
just
know,
anyone who can look up Wikipedia. It's like you have to have a curiosity
or you have to be a chemist,
or that.
and they are princes. I don't know why I made them all male, but yeah, I'm rethinking chemistry.
Ooh. Ooh. New career path.
Not yet.
Suddenly, you're a chemist now. That's all
Imagine.
it takes. That's all it takes.
I did feel very like schooled by the universe, though.
Mhm.
Finding that Wikipedia page and being so enchanted by it,
Mhm.
I felt very schooled by the universe. Janessa loves it when you use the word universe.
Yeah, I love it. This is the universe.
It was the universe. Do you think it makes sense to call the universe the universe? And when I say the universe, what?
People aren't really talking about the universe when they say the universe.
Yeah, what are they talking about?
They're talking about some omnipresent chance happening.
Chance happening.
Yeah.
I don't think they're talking about a chance happening.
Chance
When they
happening.
say
I think they are.
When they say
They're
the
talking
universe.
about like some greater meaning or pull or gravity or not the universe.
She's trying not to say God.
Yeah, I am.
And what came up was chance happening.
That's how I think of God.
No.
Kind of.
A chance happening?
Like, no, but the fact that chance happens. The fact that anything happens at all. That's what I think of God.
That's what everybody thinks of God.
No, but people think of it as a noun.
No. Look, seriously, what you just described,
Mhm.
that's what everyone's talking about. And that's what they're talking about when they say the universe. I'm telling you. I subscribe to Gaia.
Oh my god.
It means I know the earth.
That's true.
Not the minerals and the elements so much, but
Okay. I'm gonna steer a little.
first option.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So we're gonna read.
Yeah. We're reading a book. War and Peace.
Yeah, it's War and Peace.
It's
That's
War
what
and
we're
Peace.
reading. Obviously.
And if you don't know, then you know.
Yeah. And we're on book 11, chapter 26.
That's what this is.
It's gonna happen really soon.
That's what this is. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Toward 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Murat's troops were entering Moscow. In front rode a detachment.
what was it? What was it when you were like, it's happening? I don't know. It's really funny. I wish I could remember it. Okay, let's read.
It'll come, or it won't.
Yeah.
The universe will decide. In front rode a detachment of Württemberg hussars, and behind them rode the King of Naples himself, accompanied by a numerous suite.
About the middle of the Arbat Street, near the church of the miraculous icon of St. Nicholas, Murat halted to await news from the advanced detachment as to the condition in which they found the citadel, Le Kremlin. Le Kremlin. How do you think the French would say Kremlin?
Le Kremlin.
Kremlin. No?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
What? Le Kremlin. Le Kremlin.
I wonder if it would go lean or lan.
That's a great question. Let's call it my cousin.
Okay.
Forget reading. Around Murat gathered a group of those who had remained in Moscow. They all stared in timid bewilderment at the strange, long-haired commander, dressed up in feathers and gold.
Is that their Tsar himself? Who's the long hair? He's not bad, low voices could be heard saying.
An interpreter rode up to the group.
Take off your caps. These words went from one to another in the crowd. The interpreter addressed an old porter and asked if it was far to the Kremlin. The porter, listening in perplexity to the unfamiliar Polish accent and not realizing that the interpreter was speaking Russian, did not understand what was being said to him and slipped behind the others.
Murat approached the interpreter and told him to ask where the Russian army was. One of the Russians understood what was asked, and several voices at once began answering the interpreter. Don't they all speak French, or only the nobility?
No, they're interfacing with the Russians.
Oh, so he doesn't. Yeah, but I'm saying, don't the Russians all speak French? It seemed like that up to this point, but
I don't think all of them know.
Okay.
I think it was just in some,
Circles.
educate,
Yeah. A French officer, returning from the advanced detachment, rode up to Murat and reported that the gates of the citadel had been barricaded and that there was probably an ambuscade there.
We're going to have to look that word up. An ambush. This is a much better ambuscade.
Oh, yeah.
Ambuscade.
Not scade.
Not that I read phonetics that well, but... Good, said Murat, and turning to one of the gentlemen in his suite, ordered 4 light guns to be moved forward to fire at the gates.
The guns emerged at a trot from the column following Murat and advanced up the Arbat. When they reached the end of the Vodvizenka Street, they halted and drew in the square. Several French officers superintended the placing of the guns and looked at the Kremlin through field glasses.
The bells in the Kremlin were ringing for vespers, and this sound troubled the French. They imagined it to be a call to arms. A few infantrymen ran to the Kutafiev gate. Beams and wooden screens had been put there, and 2 musket shots rang out from under the gate as soon as an officer and men began to run toward it. A general who was standing by the guns shouted some words of command to the officer, and the latter ran back again with his men.
The sound of 3 more shots came from the gate.
One shot struck a French soldier's foot, and from behind the screens came the strange sound of a few voices shouting. Instantly, as at a word of command, the expression of cheerful serenity on the faces of the French general, officers, and men changed to one of determined, concentrated readiness for strife and suffering. To all of them, from the marshal to the least soldier, that place was not the Vozdvizhenka. It sounds like I'm having a stroke. Sorry. Mokhavaya. I can't speak.
Mokavaya?
Mokavaya, Or Kutafiev Street, nor the Troitsa Gate, places familiar in Moscow, but a new battlefield which would probably prove sanguinary, and all made ready for that battle. The cries from the gate ceased. The guns were advanced. The artillerymen blew the ash off their linstocks, and an officer gave the word, fire. This was followed by 2 whistling sounds of canister shot, one after the other. The shot rattled against the stone of the gate and upon the wooden beams and screens, and two wavering clouds of smoke rose over the square.
A few instants after the echo of the reports resounding over the stone built Kremlin had died away, the French heard a strange sound above their head. Thousands of crows rose above the walls and circled in the air,
What the
cawing
hell?
and noisily flapping their wings. Together with that sound came a solitary human cry from the gateway, and amid the smoke appeared the figure of a bare-headed man in a peasant's coat. He grasped a musket and took aim at the French. "Fire!" repeated the officer once more, and the reports of a musket and of two cannon shots were heard simultaneously. The gate was again hidden by smoke.
Nothing more stirred behind the screens, and the French infantry soldiers and officers advanced to the gate. In the gateway lay 3 wounded and 4 dead. 2 men in peasant coats ran away at the foot of the wall towards Znamenka.
"Clear that away," said the officer, pointing to the beams and the corpses, and the French soldiers, after dispatching the wounded, threw the corpses over the parapet.
Who these men were, nobody knew. Clear that away was all that was said of them. They were thrown over the parapet and removed later on that they might not stink. Strange. Thiers alone dedicates a few eloquent lines to their memory. These wretches had occupied the sacred citadel, having supplied themselves with guns from the arsenal, and fired, the wretches, at the French. Some of them were sabred, and the Kremlin was purged of their presence.
Murat was informed that the way had been cleared. The French entered the gates and began pitching their camp in the Senate Square. Out of the windows of the Senate House, the soldiers threw chairs into the square for fuel and kindled fires there.
Other detachments passed through the Kremlin and encamped along the Moroseka, the Lubyanka, and Pokrovka streets. Others quartered themselves along the Vozdvizenka, the Nikolsky, and the Tverskoy streets. No masters of the houses being found anywhere, the French were not billeted on the inhabitants, as is usual in towns, but lived in it as in a camp.
Though tattered, hungry, worn out, and reduced to a third of their original number, the French entered Moscow in good marching order. It was a weary and famished, but still a fighting and menacing army. But it remained an army only until its soldiers had dispersed into their different lodgings. As soon as the men of the various regiments began to disperse among the wealthy and deserted houses, the army was lost forever, and there came into being something nondescript. Neither citizens nor soldiers, but what are known as marauders.
What do you mean lost forever?
Lost forever?
The way that Pierre's never going to be seen again? Or?
No, like as in they stopped being soldiers and became marauders.
I know, but forever.
I don't know.
Okay.
When 5 weeks later, these same men left Moscow, they no longer formed an army. They were a mob of marauders, each carrying a quantity of articles which seemed to him valuable or useful. The aim of each man when he left Moscow was no longer, as it had been, to conquer, but merely to keep what he had acquired. Like a monkey which put its paw into the narrow neck of a jug, and having seized a handful of nuts, will not open its fist for fear of losing what it holds, and therefore perishes. The French, when they left Moscow, had inevitably to perish, because they carried their loot with them. Yet to abandon what they had stolen was as impossible for them as it is for the monkey to open its paw and let go of its nuts. 10 minutes after each regiment had entered a Moscow district, no soldier or officer was left. Men in military uniforms and Hessian boots could be seen through the windows, laughing and walking through the rooms. In cellars and storerooms, similar men were busy among the provisions, and in the yards, unlocking or breaking open coach house and stable doors, lighting fires in kitchens, and kneading and baking bread with rolled-up sleeves, and cooking or frightening, amusing, or caressing women and children.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There were many such men, both in the shops and houses, but there was no army.
Order after order was issued by the French commanders that day, forbidding the men to disperse about the town, sternly forbidding any violence to the inhabitants or any looting, and announcing a roll call for that very evening. But despite all these measures, the men, who had till then constituted an army, flowed all over the wealthy, deserted city with its comforts and plentiful supplies. As a hungry herd of cattle keeps well together when crossing a barren field, but gets out of hand and at once disperses uncontrollably as soon as it reaches rich pastures, so did the army disperse all over the wealthy city.
No residents were left in Moscow, and the soldiers, like water percolating through sand, spread irresistibly through the city in all directions from the Kremlin into which they had first marched. The cavalry, on entering a merchant's house that had been abandoned and finding their stabling more than sufficient for their horses, went on, all the same, to the next house, which seemed to them better. Many of them appropriated several houses, chalked their names on them, and quarreled and even fought with other companies for them. Before they had had time to secure quarters, the soldiers ran out into the streets to see the city, and, hearing that everything had been abandoned, rushed to places where valuables were to be had for the taking. The officers followed to check the soldiers and were involuntarily drawn into doing the same. In Carriage Row, carriages had been left in the shops, and generals flocked there to select calèches and coaches for themselves. The few inhabitants who had remained invited commanding officers to their houses, hoping thereby to secure themselves from being plundered. There were masses of wealth, and there seemed no end to it. All around the quarters occupied by the French were other regions still unexplored and unoccupied there, they thought. Yet greater riches might be found. And Moscow engulfed the army ever deeper and deeper. When water is spilled on dry ground, both the dry ground and the water disappear, and mud results. And in the same way, the entry of the famished army into the rich and deserted city resulted in fires and looting and the destruction of both the army and the wealthy city.
This is deep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
How, like, I've never thought about this before. Obviously not. The idea of, like, a city, like, soaking up that's it's intense.
Yeah, that like it turns to mud.
And that,
Metaphor?
like, Moscow got them as much as they got Moscow.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it digested, it, like, started to digest them.
Right, and they both got eaten. Like there's something about like it digested them and got digested itself through that act. Yeah.
That's wild, man. Sometimes he does all right. And also, sorry, the idea that of the monkey with the thing, like, that's so human. Because on the one hand, I was about to say, well, that's very easy for him to say. He's a count, and he's talking about, like, oh, these greedy soldiers are just, like, trying to get what they can.
Yeah.
But, like, of course they're trying to get what they can, on the one hand,
Yeah.
because they're exhausted and super far away from home, and who's going to look after them when they get home, if they ever get home? You know, like, what? So that is, like, an extremely human thing, but it's also the thing that's bringing about their demise.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I mean, I've heard that thing about them. Like, I think it's usually a monkey. I've heard that thing about like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that old. That analogy. I don't know what else to call it.
That sounds like a novel.
But yeah, that's a really good point. That they've been marching for how long?
To call them marauders is a little condescending.
Mm-hmm.
Only, again, like, not to come down morally on the idea of plundering a city, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But from a person perspective, like, what are these guys supposed to do?
I think it's just more of a note of that it's what you're saying, that like the city digested them and that it almost it transformed them into that,
Yeah.
like having so much to gorge on, they became marauders.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Odysseus. Makes me think of Circe's island. Everyone got transformed into pigs.
I want to go to there.
Circe's island.
The island with the piggies. Yeah, that was intense.
Hmm.
The French attributed the fire of Moscow au patriotisme féroce de Rostopchin. What?
Ferocious patriotism of first option.
The Russians to the barbarity of the French. In reality, however, it was not and could not be possible to explain
Of course, it could not.
anything. The burning of Moscow by making any individual or any group of people responsible for it. We're in familiar territory here. Moscow was burned because it found itself in a position in which any town built of wood was bound to burn, quite apart from whether it had or had not 130 inferior fire engines. Deserted Moscow had to burn as inevitably as a heap of shavings has to burn on which sparks continually fall for several days. A town built of wood where scarcely I can't imagine this in my mind's eye that it's built of wood entirely.
Yeah.
A town built of wood where scarcely a day passes without conflagrations when the house owners are in residence and a police force is present cannot help burning when its inhabitants have left it, and it is occupied by soldiers who smoke pipes, make campfires of the Senate chairs in the Senate Square, and cook themselves meals twice a day. Is that a lot? In peacetime, it is only necessary to billet troops in the villages of any district, and the number of fires in that district immediately increases. How much then must the probability of fire be increased in an abandoned wooden town where foreign troops are quartered? Le patriotisme féroce de Rostopchin and the barbarity of the French were not to blame in the matter. Moscow was set on fire by the soldiers' pipes, kitchens, and campfires, and by the carelessness of enemy soldiers occupying houses they did not own. I feel like he's coming down on one side. He's kind of saying the French did it.
But we cannot say exactly who did it.
But it was the French. Yeah. But we can't ignore that the French were lighting
fires. Curling their hair. I don't know what else they're doing. Yeah.
Even if there was any arson, which is very doubtful, for no one had any reason to burn the houses, in any case, a troublesome and dangerous thing to do. Arson cannot be regarded as the cause, for the same thing would have happened without any incendiarism. Would it?
I'm not sure about that. However tempting it might be for the French to blame Rostopchin's ferocity and for Russians to blame the scoundrel Bonaparte, or later on to place an heroic torch in the hands of their own people, it is impossible not to see that there could be no such direct cause of the fire, for Moscow had to burn, as every village, factory, or house must burn, which is left by its owners, and in which strangers are allowed to live and cook their porridge. You know, that's how Airbnb is gonna. That's gonna.
If you have an Airbnb, do not allow people to cook porridge.
No, make sure that's in your house rules.
Yeah, above all else. If you cannot live without your porridge, this is not the place for you.
Moscow was burned by its inhabitants, it is true, but by those who had abandoned it, and not by those who remained in it. Moscow, when occupied by the enemy, did not remain intact like Berlin, Vienna, and other towns, simply because its inhabitants abandoned it, and did not welcome the French with bread and salt, nor bring them the keys of the city.
I can't tell if that's supposed to be patriotic or unpatriotic. Because it's described as both.
Kind of, yeah.
That the Muscovites, like...
It's saying, like, hey, you give up your city, it burns. End of story.
Okay.
But at the same time, I know they left the city because they couldn't stand to be under French rule.
Yeah, there was like...
Right?
It feels like they lose either way.
Yeah.
Chapter 27?
Mm-hmm.
The absorption of the French by Moscow, radiating star-wise as it did, only reached the quarter where Pierre was staying by the evening of the 2nd of September.
After the last 2 days spent in solitude and unusual circumstances, Pierre was in a state bordering on insanity. He was completely obsessed by one persistent thought. He did not know how or when this thought had taken such possession of him, but he remembered nothing of the past, understood nothing of the present, and all he saw and heard appeared to him like a dream.
He had left home only to escape the intricate tangle of life's demands that enmeshed him, and which in his present condition he was unable to unravel. He had gone to Joseph Alexeyevich's house on the plea of sorting the deceased's books and papers, only in search of rest from life's turmoil. For in his mind, the memory of Joseph Alexeyevich was connected with a world of eternal, solemn, and calm thoughts, quite contrary to the restless confusion into which he felt himself being drawn. This is such a coronavirus. He sought a quiet refuge, and in Joseph Alexeyevich's study he really found it. When he sat with his elbows on the dusty writing table in the death-like stillness of the study, calm and significant memories of the last few days rose one after another in his imagination, particularly of the Battle of Borodino, and of that vague sense of his own insignificance and insincerity compared with the truth, simplicity, and strength of the class of men he mentally classed as they. When Gerasim roused him from his reverie, the idea occurred to him of taking part in the popular defense of Moscow, which he knew was projected. With that object, he had asked Gerasim to get him a peasant's coat and a pistol, confiding to him his intentions of remaining in Joseph Alexeyevich's house and keeping his name secret. Then, during the first days spent in inaction and solitude, he tried several times to fix his attention on the Masonic manuscripts, but was unable to do so. The idea that had previously occurred to him of the Kabbalistic significance of his name in connection with Bonaparte's more than, oh God, this is his 9966. His 66, his math.
Yeah. Kabbalistic, relating to or associated with mystical interpretation.
Right, like a cabal. I didn't know how the front of it would be pronounced in the Kabbalistic. Weird. Yeah. Significance of his name in connection with Bonaparte's more than once vaguely presented itself. But the idea that he, Le Russe Bezukhov.
You remember? Because that's how we came up with the numbers.
Oh.
Because it was like l'Empereur Napoleon. And then
but like, you have to take away the E?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was such a fever dream. What the hell was happening? We're not even talking about it like it's weird.
Oh,
it was like right that time that I
slipped
down a wormhole. LaRousse. Because there's no space for the E. Russe
Bezukhov.
Russe.
I forget why you changed the spelling of his name.
Probably for the same reason, so it would like add up.
Yeah.
But the idea that he, Russe Bezukhov, was destined to set a limit to the power of the beast, oh my God, was as yet only one of the fancies that often passed through his mind and left no trace behind.
When having bought the coat merely with the object of taking part among the people in the defense of Moscow, Pierre had met the Rostovs, and Natasha had said to him, "Are you remaining in Moscow? How splendid!" The thought flashed into his mind that it really would be a good thing, even if Moscow were taken, for him to remain there and do what he was predestined to do.
Which is kill the beast? Kill the beast. Isn't that the Kill the Beast song?
Yeah, it has Beauty and the
Right.
Beast.
Of course it is. I think it's from Little Mermaid.
Could be. Mermaids are beasts. That would be a different Little Mermaid.
Make a note of it because we're not going to remember.
Ugh.
The ideas that come up, you need to put them somewhere. I'm telling you. Next day, with the sole idea of not sparing himself and not lagging in any way behind them, Pierre went to the Three Hills gate. But when he returned to the house, convinced that Moscow would not be defended, he suddenly felt that what before had seemed to him merely a possibility had now become absolutely necessary and inevitable. He must remain in Moscow, concealing his name, and must meet Napoleon and kill him, and either perish or put an end to the misery of all Europe. which it seemed to him was solely due to Napoleon.
Pierre, aren't you Russian? Don't you understand? Napoleon is not the cause of war. The war is the cause of Napoleon.
They can't hear you, but yeah,
Yeah, I said something very wise.
it was so smart.
I don't know. Pierre doesn't seem like a true Russian sometimes,
Pierre's the most Russian because he thinks this now, but who knows?
That's true too.
Can I just say that I feel like you have been wanting this Pierre Napoleon
Pierre versus Napoleon.
duel this whole time?
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Where did you get that from? Did you get it from Pierre, or did you get it from just like, that's what I feel in my bones I need?
I mean, I really like the idea of there being an epic battle at the end of this
Yeah.
movie.
The movie where we...
I don't know if it was when he was like, I am the counterpart to the beast, that I was like, yes, you are Pierre.
Really?
If it was before that, yeah.
If it was before that, then you are just prescient.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I feel like
Because I'm pretty sure that's not what happened in the history books. Unless we're just taking a far departure.
That's what happens at the end of Watchmen. I feel like we're in a world the whole way, and then at the very end of the book,
Yeah.
suddenly like some shit falls from the sky, and you're like, wait, what? It's like it's a total turn.
Watchmen, you said.
Yeah?
Yeah. Haven't seen it.
I was talking about the comic book.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about the comic book.
Of course you were.
I was not referring to the TV series, which I'm
They
assuming
turned
exists.
it into a TV series, you say?
I'm assuming it exists. I've walked right into this one. Okay.
Pierre knew all the details of the attempt on Bonaparte's life in 1809 by a German student in Vienna, and knew that the student had been shot, and the risk to which he would expose his life by carrying out his design excited him still more.
Two equally strong feelings drew Pierre irresistibly to this purpose. The first was a feeling of the necessity of sacrifice and suffering in view of the common calamity. The same feeling that had caused him to go to Mozhaisk on the 25th and to make his way to the very thick of the battle, and had now caused him to run away from his home, and in place of the luxury and comfort to which he was accustomed, to sleep on a hard sofa without undressing and eat the same food as Garrison. The other was that vague and quite Russian feeling of contempt for everything conventional, artificial, and human. Oh my god. I didn't expect human to go with that.
Interesting.
Contempt for everything human.
Feel it.
We're toast. They're toast. For everything the majority of men regard as the greater good in the world. Okay. That I get. Pierre had first experienced this strange and fascinating feeling at the Sloboda Palace, when he had suddenly felt that wealth, power, and life, all that men so painstakingly acquire and guard, if it has any worth, has so only by reason of the joy with which it can all be renounced.
It was the feeling that induces a volunteer recruit to spend his last penny on drink, and a drunken man to smash mirrors or glasses for no apparent reason, and knowing that it will cost him all the money he possesses. The feeling which causes a man to perform actions which, from an ordinary point of view, are insane, to test, as it were, his personal power and strength, affirming the existence of a higher, non-human criterion of life.
The criterion of life. Maybe that's a good word for the universe.
The criterion of life wants you to understand vitrification.
Yeah. From the very day Pierre had experienced this feeling for the first time at the Sloboda Palace, he had been continuously under its influence. I forget. I checked out. Under what's influence?
At the Sloboda Palace.
You just read it. Oh my god. What
the
was
feeling!
It? Which feeling?
The feeling of throwing everything into the fire. It's the feeling of doing a marathon. It's why people do marathons. That's what I thought for me.
Knowing that it will cost him all the money he possesses, the feeling which causes a man to perform actions which from an ordinary point of view are insane to test his personal power and strength, affirmations, existence of a higher. I would like to bookmark this to tell you that I think somebody. Oh, I just
Okay.
need to remember this.
Okay.
Sorry. Right. That feeling. Let's see. What's it?
What?
What is it?
It's a song. Is that a real song?
What's a song?
All I want is nothing more to hear Pierre knocking on my door. Because if I could see Pierre's face once more, I could die as a happy Russ, I'm sure.
That is a song.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you just come up with that? That's wonderful.
Oh my god, you love Pierre? That person loves Pierre.
Obviously. Who doesn't?
What song is that?
Is it from?
There's nothing more than
Ah.
knocking at your door. I don't know what happens right after that. I mean, it sounds like how it should end.
I think that's what happens to it. I don't know.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, really beautiful. He'd been continually under its influence of that feeling, but only now found full satisfaction for it. Moreover, at this moment, Pierre was supported in his design and prevented from renouncing it by what he had already done in that direction. If he were now to leave Moscow, like everyone else, his flight from home, the peasant coat, the pistol, and his announcement to the Rostovs that he would remain in Moscow would all become not merely meaningless, but contemptible and ridiculous. And to this, Pierre was very sensitive.
Pierre's physical condition, as is always the case, corresponded to his mental state.
Huh.
The unaccustomed coarse food, the vodka he drank during those days, the absence of wine and cigars.
Yeah.
His dirty, unchanged linen, 2 almost sleepless nights passed on a short sofa without bedding. All this kept him in a state of excitement, bordering on insanity.
Is his physical? I see no evidence for that. His physical condition determining his mental state?
Yeah. His physical hygiene, it sounds like.
When has that ever happened?
As always happens. I don't know when he's really been unwashed ever in his life.
Right. So what's the point of this? Why?
I think it was just like as is always the case, not necessarily related to him specifically. Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. It was 2:00 in the afternoon. The French had already entered Moscow. Pierre knew this, but instead of acting, he only thought about his undertaking, going over its minutest detail in his mind. In his fancy, he did not clearly picture to himself either the striking of the blow or the death of Napoleon, but with extraordinary vividness and melancholy enjoyment imagined his own destruction and heroic endurance.
Yes, alone, for the sake of all, I must do it or perish, he thought.
Must you?
Yes. I will approach, and then suddenly, pistol or dagger? But that's all the same. It is not I, but the hand of Providence that punishes thee, I shall say, thought he, imagining what he would say when he was killing Napoleon. Well then, take me and execute me, he went on, speaking to himself and bowing his head with a sad but firm expression.
While Pierre, standing in the middle of the room, was talking to himself in this way, the study door opened, and on the threshold appeared the figure of Makar Alexievich, always so timid before, but now quite transformed.
His dressing gown was unfastened, his face red and distorted. He was obviously drunk. On seeing Pierre, he grew confused at first, but noticing embarrassment on Pierre's face, immediately grew bold and, staggering on his thin legs, advanced into the middle of the room.
They're frightened, he said confidentially in a hoarse voice. I say I won't surrender. I say Am I not right, sir?
Oh God, everyone's insane. The only people that are left in Moscow are insane.
Well, because he's actually
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's actually insane, and Pierre's gone insane too. So
Yeah.
great, this is gonna be good.
God.
He paused, and then suddenly, seeing the pistol on the table, seized it with unexpected rapidity and ran out into the corridor.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He's grabbed the gun and run off. I just want to go back to the fact that Pierre, when talking to himself, practiced saying, "Well then, take me and execute me." How do you think he said it?
Like that.
Like, how would he think it was going to feel like?
Take me and execute me. Execute me. I don't know.
Well then, take me and execute me!
So that's how I
I think like a flustered scientist.
Okay. He should have been a chemist. Missed your calling.
Completely. Garrison, and the porter who had followed Makar Alexievich stopped him in the vestibule and tried to take the pistol from him. Pierre, coming out into the corridor, looked with pity and repulsion at the half-crazy old man. Makar Alexievich, frowning with exertion, held onto the pistol and screamed hoarsely, evidently with some heroic fancy in his head.
To arms! Board them! No, you shan't get it! He yelled.
That will do, please, that'll do. Have the goodness, please, sir, to let it go. Please, sir, pleaded Garrison, trying carefully to steer Makar Alexievich by the elbows back to the door.
Who are you? Bonaparte? Shouted Makar Alexievich.
That's not right, sir. Come to your room, please, and rest. Allow me to have the pistol. At what?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, you should have gotten that Mackers part.
Yeah, fuck you, Mackers.
Yeah. Be off, thou base slave. Touch me not. See this, shouted Makar Alexievich, brandishing the pistol. Board them.
Catch hold, whispered Garrison to the porter.
They seized Makar Alexievich by the arms and dragged him to the door.
The vestibule was filled with discordant sounds of a struggle and of a tipsy, hoarse voice.
Suddenly a fresh sound, a piercing feminine scream, reverberated from the porch, and the cook came running into the vestibule.
It's them! Gracious heavens! Oh, Lord! 4 of them! Horsemen! She cried.
The apocalypse?
Yeah.
Garrison and the porter let Makar Alexievich go, and in the now silent corridor, the sound of several hands knocking at the front door could be heard.
Oh my God. The French are like there.
Yep.
Either that or the horsemen of the apocalypse.
Imagine. Yeah, it's them. It's pestilence, greed.
Good for you. I can't name a damn one.
Pride. I don't know. Now I just start getting into the sins.
Yeah.
What are the...
Sins are very problematic.
I know the sins. Famine.
Famine, pestilence, what was the second one?
I think it's not greed. I don't think it is. I think that's a sin.
That's a sin.
I don't know.
Which one does it?
Protuberance. I don't know. No, just...
Do you want me to look it up? Or do you want to remember? Okay, should I read?
Yeah.
This, my friends, is chapter 28. Pierre, having decided that until he had carried out his design, he would disclose neither his identity nor his knowledge of French, stood at the half-open door of the corridor, intending to conceal himself as soon as the French entered. But the French entered, and still Pierre did not retire. An irresistible curiosity kept him there.
War. Famine. Plague.
Plague.
For some reason, it only lists 3.
Well, plague and pestilence are not both likely.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's plague, not
War, plague, famine, and
Wait. Oh, why isn't there just like the red horse, the black horse,
hobble.
the pale horse?
The pale horse.
That's famine. Are there only 3?
No.
The white horse.
I didn't realize they were multicolored. I don't know enough about these apocalyptic horsemen. Which is bullshit. How am I even going to recognize the rapture when it comes? There were 2 of them. One was an officer, a tall, soldierly, handsome man. The other, evidently a private or an orderly, sunburned, short and thin, with sunken cheeks and a dull expression. The officer walked in front, leaning on a stick and slightly limping. When he had advanced a few steps, he stopped, having apparently decided that these were good quarters, turned round to the soldiers standing at the entrance, and in a loud voice of command ordered them to put up the horses. Having done that, the officer... Conquest? Lame. Having done that, the officer, lifting his elbow with a smart gesture, stroked his mustache and lightly touched his hat. Bonjour, la compagnie, you want to read? Said he gaily, smiling and looking about him.
No one gave any reply.
Vous êtes le bourgeois? The officer asked Garrison.
Garrison gazed at the officer with an alarmed and inquiring look.
It was just like this. Quartier, logement, said the officer, looking down at the little man with a condescending and a good-natured smile. Condescending and good-natured. Wait, you do that smile at me all the time?
No.
Yes!
Yeah. I was going to say, like, that's probably why my sister hates me.
What?
I think she thinks I'm condescending.
She thinks you're condescending?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Pretty sure.
I don't think she hates you.
She hates me.
You just said the H word.
I always think she hates me.
You do?
Yeah.
But she don't. She love you.
No. She doesn't call me enough.
Leah, call once in a while.
Call once in a while. I don't always want to be the one reaching out.
Yeah, you know, Leah.
She's always like, yeah, I'm just really busy. And I'm like,
it's going to get so much worse.
yeah, it is.
But
That's true.
maybe there will also be a equal and opposite
Ha!
reaction.
That's probably why I want to be busy. Just so I can be busier than her. And then I can be like, oh, sorry, you rang.
I didn't realize this was a thing.
It's only a thing on my side. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's most of my things.
Right?
Is that not what things are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we continue? Or?
Quartier, logement.
Les Français sont de bons enfants. Que diable? What are they fucking talking about?
So let me just read it for you. Quarters, lodgings. The French are good fellows. What the devil? There, don't let us be cross, old fellow.
Added he, clapping the scared and silent Garrison on the shoulder. Well, does no one speak French in this establishment? He asked, again in French, looking around and meeting Pierre's eyes. Pierre moved away from the door.
Again, the officer turned to Garrison and asked him to show him the rooms in the house.
Master, not here. Don't understand. Me, you, said Garrison, trying to render his words more comprehensible by contorting them.
Still smiling, the French officer spread out his hands before Garrison's nose, intimating that he did not understand him either. Wait, what? He's like, meh. Is that what he's doing?
He's talking to the hand.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
And moved, limping to the door at which Pierre was standing. Pierre wished to go away and conceal himself, but at that moment he saw Makar Alekseyevich appearing at the open kitchen door with a pistol in his
Dear
hand.
God.
With a madman's cunning, Makar Alekseyevich eyed the Frenchman, raised his pistol, and took aim.
Board them! Yelled the tipsy man, trying to press the trigger. Hearing the yell, the officer turned around, and at the same moment Pierre threw himself on the drunkard. Just when Pierre snatched at and struck up the pistol, Makar Alekseyevich at last got his fingers on the trigger. There was a deafening report, and all were enveloped in a cloud of smoke. The Frenchman turned pale and rushed to the door.
Forgetting his intention of concealing his knowledge of French,
Oh my
Pierre,
God.
snatching away the pistol and throwing it down, ran up to the officer and addressed him in French.
You are not wounded? What is...
He's so concerned about the officers now? What are you doing?
He asked.
I think not, answered the Frenchman, feeling himself over. But I have had a lucky escape this time, he added, pointing to the damaged plaster of the wall. Who is that man? Said he, looking sternly at Pierre.
Oh, I am really in despair at what has occurred. What is he? Said Pierre rapidly, quite forgetting the part he had intended to play. He is an unfortunate madman who did not know what he was doing, unlike me.
The officer went up to Makar Alekseyevich and took him by the collar.
Makar Alekseyevich was standing with parted lips, swaying as if about to fall asleep as he leaned against the wall.
Brigand, you shall pay for this, said the Frenchman, letting go of him. We French are merciful after victory, but we do not pardon traitors, he added. What? With a look of gloomy dignity and a fine, energetic gesture.
Pierre continued in French to persuade the officer not to hold that drunken imbecile to account. The Frenchman listened in silence with the same gloomy expression, but suddenly turned to Pierre with a smile. For a few seconds he looked at him in silence. His handsome face assumed a melodramatically gentle expression. And he held out his hand.
You have saved my life. You are French, said he.
For a Frenchman, that deduction was indubitable. Only a Frenchman could perform a great deed, and to save his life, the life of Monsieur Crombal, captain of the 13th Light Regiment, was undoubtedly a very great deed.
But however indubitable that conclusion and the officer's conviction based upon it, Pierre felt it necessary to disillusion him.
Oh my God. I'm Russian, he said quickly.
Tut, tell that to the others, said the officer, waving his finger before his nose and smiling. You shall tell me all about that presently. I'm delighted to meet a compatriot. Well, and what are we to do with this man? He added, addressing himself to Pierre as to a brother.
Even if Pierre were not a Frenchman, having once received that loftiest of human appellations.
Appellation.
But is it a word in English also?
I guess so. An appellation. That
Sounds
too
like
weird.
appellations.
Appellation.
He could not renounce it. Oh, he's just too polite, said the officer's look and tone. In reply to his last question, Pierre again explained who Makar Alekseyevich was, and how, just before their arrival, that drunken imbecile had seized the loaded pistol, which they had not had time to recover from him, and begged the officer to let the deed go unpunished.
The Frenchman expanded his chest and made a majestic gesture with his arm.
You have saved my life. You are French. This is so weird. Why is he demanding that he be French?
I don't know. He's like, no. French. French.
You ask his pardon? I grant it you. Lead that man away, said he quickly and energetically, never mind. And taking the arm of Pierre, whom he had promoted to be a Frenchman for saving his life, he went with him to the other room.
Soldiers in the yard, hearing the shot, came into the passage, asking what had happened, and expressed their readiness to punish the culprits. But the officer sternly checked them.
You will be called in when you are wanted, he said.
The soldiers went out again, and the orderly, who had meanwhile had time to visit the kitchen, came up to his officer.
Captain, there is soup and a leg of mutton in the kitchen, said he. Shall I serve them up?
Yes, and some wine, answered the captain.
Aren't we having a dinner party?
Imagine just going up to someone's house. Feed me.
I mean, there's a lot I can't imagine about
Yeah.
these guys' life.
Yeah. Whew. Didn't see that coming.
Which?
Do you think like now he's gonna be like embraced? It's perfect, Pierre. It's perfect.
It is perfect.
And this is why your name is Pierre.
I mean,
And not
Piotr.
Piotr. That's right. I was like, what's the Russian thing?
No,
They're gonna be like, Pierre, of course you're French. And then he gets to infiltrate the army.
He has an accent. He's an accent.
I don't know. Apparently they're not paying attention to that.
I think
you get right up close to Napoleon.
And he's just like, oui.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what he is. He's like, yes, I do have a mistress. I don't know what else would be French.
I would stay longer, but you know, my harem.
Exactly.
Racist. This is racist. Oh my god. What else is French?
Foie gras.
I deeply don't understand foie gras.
It is not appetizing.
I mean, it sounds horrifying.
What's the tartare? Beef tartare. You know when it just looks like raw meat and you're like,
I think that's carpaccio.
no.
It's tartare. Because I know tuna tartare, but I've never had steak tartare. That is horrible. That's horrible.
Ugh. You know, like meat grinder? I think it's basically this. It's like taking meat, putting it through a grinder, and then being like,
That's so disgusting. I can't watch it coming out of those holes. Like, what has happened to it that it's now all that? Like, if you put a person in there, it would come out like that.
in Grey's Anatomy, there's a similar situation where a guy he got his arm stuck in the grinder.
Oh.
And Meredith Grey has to figure out how to get it out, how to save the arm. It's not looking good.
You can't save that arm.
I know that at first they're like amputate, and then she's like, no, wait! I think there's nerve endings.
Of course, there's no.
And then they're like, how quickly can you disassemble this grinder? And the brothers are like, oh, I don't know, because it's just a bunch of like brothers who own a meat shop or something like that.
That seems important.
And then they're like, okay, we can do it.
What? How would it get sucked into a meat grinder without getting ground?
I mean, like a lot of it got ground, but not all.
So it's just like
they want to save
shorter?
like a few fingers.
So it's just like way shorter. Than
I forget what she wants to do. She wants to like maybe like take off his forearm and just like add a bit of hand. I don't know what she wants to do.
I sat next to a lovely gentleman on the plane whose one arm looked like that. Yeah. It was a little bit like his hand was at his elbow.
Right.
Maybe it was the same guy.
I guess that's. You're like me, Brian?
Didn't look like that was what happened. I'm not sure about the other in any case.
That might be what happened. Or it might be what happened. Like, yeah. Some of the nerve endings were good and they reattached it elsewhere.
Yeah.
There was another Grey's Anatomy where
I gotta go.
Where they put someone's foot on his arm. Like foot for hand.
Grey's Anatomy is a TV show that I've never seen.
It's true. That's pretty
It doesn't count.
Right, it doesn't matter. Okay, fine. Grey's Anatomy is a TV show.
That's kind of old. You've tried that for like 3 shows. You keep saying that. For Mad Men is old. Sopranos old.
Old.
I am old. So, there.
Right.
Oh my god.
Oh!
Baguette! Yes, a baguette is very
shoot.
French. What?
Shoot. Sorry.
I hope this is of importance to
It
3 people
looks
here.
amazing. To all you bread bakers out there, keep going. You're great.
Oh
You're
no.
great.
Oops.
It's funny that you wrote baguette right then.
That's very
I'm assuming
French.
it's a she. I'm sorry if it's not.
Why would you assume that?
I don't know. Allie. I think I thought Allie, and then I thought Allie.
It could be Ali.
It could be, and I'm sorry if it is.
You should be.
Did you know that between a Frenchman and his soul, there's a layer of baguette?
What?
I'm a guy. Okay. See?
It was obvious after that last
See, look,
one.
look how red I look now. Don't I look ashamed?
Janessa is mortified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sweaty. Whew. These lights are getting hot. Pizza guy.
You're the pizza guy?
Mm.
That's funny. Or you're like a pizza guy, like you're really into pizza.
I'm a pizza guy too. Thank you.
You know, one of my ex-boyfriends used to make pizza on a baguette. This was a common occurrence. So
Sounds good.
everything comes
Sounds
together.
like pizza bagel.
It was like pizza bagel. This one time, Emily and I went to a diner
Mm-hmm.
and I ordered some shit. This was like obviously when I was eating all kinds of nonsense in college. And she was like, "You just ordered the same thing twice." And I was like, "What? No, I didn't."
Yeah.
It's because I got mozzarella sticks and a pizza bagel. And she was like, "That is literally the same thing in just like a different configuration." And she was right. At least I knew what I wanted. I wanted bread, cheese, sauce.
But I like how you I like wanting the same thing twice. Like, it's so similar.
That means like you
Slightly
really
different.
want what you want.
Yeah. Well, that's new I have to say. Try it. I'm assuming he's talking about pizza baguette.
Yeah, pizza baguette. Pizza baguette!
Pizza baguette. Is that what you said?
I'm all confused.
Okay.
I'm all confused.
It's been a great stream, guys. Thank you.
He's not a pizza guy, but pizza's Italian.
Pizza's-
That's where that came from. I just put that together. I'm slow. He probably liked your Italian accent, is what I'm thinking.
Pizza baguette.
So good, right?
It's all in the hands. That's how I do an Italian accent.
She needs to watch The Sopranos. for
I
sure.
do.
They're not Italians, but they're Italian.
Yeah.
Like they're American Italian.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna end this.
Goodbye.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
Make it stop.